Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's having an awesome or relaxed Sunday. I've got Juanita with me tonight again, and it's actually a surprise for me what we're chatting about, Juanita. What are we chatting about?
Well, that's great that it's a surprise, you know.
I know. I'm also looking forward to this because I don't know what it's about.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a impromptu, and that's great, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's means that we didn't have to do too much prep, and so we'll see where the conversation takes us.
Okay, cool.
And I think that's the great thing. So you and I spoke earlier in the week, and I said to you that I'm busy reading a book at the moment that I thought would be really I think it's a burning topic at the moment, and something that is really imperative for anyone at the moment to seriously consider. So the name of the book, and I would recommend it to anyone if anyone wants to go and find it.
Yeah.
It's called Disrupt Yourself or Be Disrupted. So we often hear about companies.
Who's that by, Juanita?
Sorry, so the book is by Nikki Bird.
Yeah.
And so it's Escape Conformity, Reinvent Your Thinking, and Thrive in an Era of Emerging Technologies and Economic Anxiety.
Okay, cool.
So I think we're in economic anxiety.
Yeah, just a tad.
Correct. You know, so and if we think about it, you know, prior to COVID, you know, you and I have used technology a lot. You know, Facebook Lives, Zooms. You know, it's stuff that we've done for many months. But of course, all of those things are being used excessively and extensively now during COVID. And so, of course, I don't think, you know, because they talk here about emerging technology. So, of course, we still have that. But what's really happened with COVID is, from a technology perspective, is that it has fast-tracked technology and the adoption of technology exponentially because we've had to. But the one thing that people haven't adopted exponentially is their mindset around how we earn money. So many people have been impacted, obviously, with COVID. Either you've lost a job, okay, or your salary's been cut, or you're working on half time, or your hours are down, or whatever the case might be. So I would say a large proportion of the population have been impacted from an earning perspective in some form or fashion. Some people more than others, but the reality is that we've all been impacted.
Sure.
And so the loss of jobs is obviously now absolutely exponentially more than it ever was. So leading up to COVID, you know, you and I both know of people who were retrenched. You and I both had conversations about that jobs are they no longer guaranteed.
Yeah.
So in this book, she talks about absolutely that. So I just want to read an extract here where she says,
cool.
Pave your own path. So she says, as anxiety about the fourth industrial revolution grows and retrenchments loom, and well, I don't think they're looming anymore, they're here. It may look like a dark time in history. In fact, though, this is the best time to be alive because disruptive change brings more opportunities. Many people still believe that the idea of success and having a job are interconnected. But the world is full of successful people who never took employment route. They paved their own way. So, of course, you know, many of us grew up with the idea that we go to school, we go to varsity, we get an education, we get a job, we work for 30, 40 years, and off we go and retire. But that mindset is something that has to change significantly. And COVID has made it very apparent to us that we can no longer think that the way that we used to earn money in the past is the way that we're going to continue earning money into the future.
Yes.
So gone are the days that you can feel content in the knowledge that you are safe and secure in your job.
Yeah.
The contract you signed for permanent employment means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And if those two things don't get you to realize that you have to start looking for other ways of making money, then nothing ever will.
Yeah.
And that is and when you and I spoke earlier in the week, we spoke about the mindset that a lot of people have around how we make money. I think because we've been so conditioned,
programmed,
this is how we make money, that the only way to make money is to have a job. In the past it used to be a secure way to make money, but it certainly didn't give you financial freedom.
Yeah.
It may have paid the bills and everything else, but it didn't necessarily create opportunity for you to be able to go and fulfill your dreams. And that reality has always been there.
Yeah.
But people have always felt safe in the fact that I've got a job. And COVID has shown us very clearly that we no longer can feel safe in that reality at all. Because overnight, that changed for us, for all of us.
Yeah, well, that's
companies came, they didn't.
That's why I said to you, like this week we had this conversation, just to add to what you're saying now, is obviously when we spoke about, you speak to a few people and they're like, well, yes, the only thing I can help you with is this opportunity, which is saving my ass at the moment. So it's not something, you know what I mean? I can tell you that it's saving my butt, yeah. And then you have the conversation of, but let me know if you know of anybody looking for people to employ. And it's like, you're not understanding that that's not, nobody's employing at the moment. If you can't see that yet, then jeez, you're in a struggle because
and I also said to you, they made there's certain industries that are obviously outperforming their previous performance because COVID obviously is the opportunity for them. But that is not every single company. It's in fact a very small percentage of businesses at the moment that are in the position where they can say, you know what, guys, we're outperforming, we're achieving budgets. There are not many companies that can say that at the moment, and so if this isn't a wake up call for people, then I actually don't know. But the mindset that people have around that is that I think that people really need to get to a stage where they're absolutely desperate. And you and I also spoke about that, is even when people are absolutely desperate and earning just about nothing, even that doesn't catapult them into, okay, well, I've got to do this because this is my opportunity for me to change my life. And
I think the thing is that sometimes they are there, but they're still looking down the barrel of the old way of doing things. So you're not going to go anywhere with that. You need to understand things are changing. There's industries that are booming at the moment. Booming. Some of the businesses you're involved, some of the businesses I'm involved. You speak about online businesses. Go and speak to anybody about online. It's booming. Like the Oaks are coining it. So the reality is you're just on the wrong side of the table. You need to get to the other side of the table.
I also think that it is it's a different way of operating and a different way of working, and that you need to go and put in the hard graft in order for it to work for you. People have this perception that to build alternate income streams must be easy, and the reality is you and I both know that building alternate income streams doesn't come easy and isn't easy. It requires commitment and effort to make it happen for you. And everybody, as soon as I want an alternate income stream, and then when they hear what they need to do in order to make it happen, then suddenly, oh no, I think it's easier to have a job. But the reality is that there ain't a job for you to go to. Yeah. So what is the choice?
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that people need to really start adjusting, because Quentin, this is not going to change. It is not going to change. We are not going to go back.
Yeah.
That's the sad reality, and the quicker people realize that I need to find, and I've got to dig in, and I've got to deep, and do I want to get myself out of my situation? I really need to take myself out of my comfort zone, because I think that's what one of the big challenges for corporates, of course, is that people get into a comfort zone. I know how to do this job, and I function, and I just do it.
This is the way we do things, and we've always done it this way, and it's always worked. So it will work, whatever. But it's not going to work like that anymore. It's changed completely.
No.
And that's why I say that, like you said, opportunities in that all online kind of environment stuff, and that is all going to take over. It's already started and stuff. I think it was going to do that in any case. All that like COVID's done is basically pushed the fast forward button and just brought it up. What would have happened in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years is now going to happen in 6 months.
Correct. So, it's exactly what it's done, and that's why our mindset around that has to significantly change. And people have got to realize that, and the quicker you do, the better for you. So it's quite interesting. Just before we started this call up, someone shared a book with me which is called From Fear to Fabulous.
I just want to post it in the thing. What, From Fear?
From Fear to Fabulous by Angela Kane.
By Angela Kane.
Kane, correct. Caine. So it talks about discover the 7 hidden patterns that are ruining your life. And so I'll just quickly, I just had a brief look at it. I haven't obviously gotten into it, but I just look. So the 7 things are, first of all, identify.
Yeah.
Identify the problem. Second thing is dance in the shadow, so dance with your shadow. A deep dive into the fragmented parts of your soul. So it's about really understanding yourself and coming to terms with yourself. I'm not enough. This is a I'm not enough syndrome. Understand the number 1 emotional disease that most women face today. Okay? Not just women, society.
Yeah.
We're so obsessed about what does the neighbor have, and what does this one have, and what is that. We've got to accept that we are enough. What we have is enough. Clearing the blocks. And this is what you and I have been talking about. Limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's about. And then they talk about reconnect with your true self, and then create, the power of creation, and then designing your ideal life. So envisioning what your ideal life is. But just on the topic number 1, which is identify. So what they talk here and say here is that you've got to identify the problem. What is blocking you from achieving what you're really capable of? What is holding you back? And the number 1 thing, and we spoke about that last week actually, is awareness. For us to create awareness about what it is that is holding us back. What is creating that block in the way that we're thinking and the way that we're moving forward? What is preventing us from changing? And it's about understanding ourselves. So when we become aware, because most of us just go through life oblivious, and as I say, we spoke about it last week.
Yes.
So it was for me. It was when I saw this, I thought you and I had a conversation about this very thing last week. Is about becoming aware and being in the now. And if you can become aware of what it is that's holding you back, then you can start focusing and you start working on the things to be able to achieve and change your life. So we go through life oblivious of stuff. And then we say, oh, no, well, that's karma and that. But effectively, what is happening is that we're completely unaware of the decisions that we make and the choices we make at a point in time.
Yeah.
And everything that's our life is because of decisions that we've made at a particular point in time, consciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
And that's what she talks about in this first chapter. So I just thought, for me, it's about that is the key thing.
Yeah,
is to identify the problem, is to create awareness.
That awareness thing, though, just so I can give my 5 cents on what I've learned with that is That's not something that you go and sit this afternoon and you go and think for an hour or two and then boom, you're aware. It can take freaking months of continuously every day doing certain exercises, and 3 months later, all of a sudden it's like ding, and then you're like, shit, that's why that keeps, because I'm doing this and whatever. So it's not something that just, I think that was my thing always, is like, okay, this week I'm going to be thinking about stuff, and then you start thinking about stuff, and then before you know it, you're doing your old stuff. In any case, 2 months go by, and then you're like, oh, but it doesn't really, it's a consistent every single day of, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes. What does Robin Banks always say? He says it's better to do it 5 or 10 minutes every single day consistently than do it like once a week for an hour or 2 hours, because that it's consistently every day. So just to add to that, on the awareness thing is that you need to be doing it every single day. And it might, you've seen that picture of the little plant, and then the plant's just about to crack through the sand, and the person standing there and going, well, nothing's happening yet, but it's just about to break through the soil. So it's that concept as well, just on the awareness. So the awareness isn't something that just happens once off. It could take months of reading books and whatever. I spoke about it this week. Also, is Les Brown in one of his things that I watched or whatever, is the what does he call it? OQP, only quality people, and surrounding yourself with only quality people. And I mean, we've also, that's so cliched, we've heard that how many times. But one thing that I will add is 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever, is you might not have those people around you right now, or have access to people like that, because you haven't put yourself out there, whatever the case may be. But what you can do is you can surround yourself with people like that. It's called YouTube and stuff like that, because you can spend an hour a day with Grant Cardone, or half an hour with Les Brown, or Tony Robbins, or whatever. And the beautiful thing is, it's for free. Yes, you need data, obviously, and stuff. But what I mean is, you can spend a half an hour every day with Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, whoever you choose. Just go and search. So that's not an excuse anymore of that, oh, well, I don't have people like that around me. Well, I promise you start surrounding yourself online with people like that, the real life people tend to cross your path eventually. Just, no,
it's exactly
totally off track, but
exactly. So, and the thing is, if you're creating awareness, it's just about a consciousness of the fact that sometimes we go through life oblivious of what's really happening, and so exactly like you're saying, is that once you realize, okay, this is something that I have to work on, I've got to start becoming aware of the things that I think, that I say, that I do, and the way that we talk. I know a person, and I don't want to now say how I know the person, but
now you have to tell us the name. Tell us the name. And I'm joking. You don't have to.
But this person, when they greet you, they will greet you by saying moaning, and I'm like, instead of mourning, it will be moaning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you just reinforcing that into your life every single time that you see me, and that's what you say to me? I'm like, and that is about an awareness. It's about an awareness that what you're saying is what you're attracting into your life.
Yeah.
Be it as it may, and that is what this person does. So anyway, without elaborating too much, but that is just a small example of being conscious of and becoming aware that the things that you do and the things that you say has an impact. Yeah. And so the exercises that you're talking about is becoming conscious that when I am being negative and I'm using negative language or negative postures, is about you becoming aware that you're doing it. Because when you're creating that awareness, you can start working on it, and you can start changing your language. You can start changing the way that you feel about things. You can start changing the way that you think when you get up in the morning. The first thing that you think in the morning, what is it that you're thinking? Is it a positive or is it a negative? A lot of people, gosh, tomorrow I've got to go to work again, or whatever the case might be, or whatever. So if you're starting your day with a negative, how's the rest of your day going to be?
I think there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people going, I don't have work to go to tomorrow. I don't have a Monday.
Well, That's, well, you see now.
No,
So I also say,
whole other complaint.
correct. You've got to be careful what you wish for sometimes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us would have said, "Oh, I'd love the opportunity to be able to work from home, and I'd love to." Well, many of us are having the opportunity to work from home, and it is not as great as we thought.
How's that worked out for you?
Exactly. So that's why you've got to be careful what you wish for. And so the thing is that you've got to be clear about what it is that you want. And that's where they talk about, have a clear picture and a clear understanding of what it is that you want and how, what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I think often as a lot of us dream about stuff and, oh, that looks so wonderful and that looks so great. But actually, in the background, it required hours and hours of work for people to get to that point. They didn't just arrive at that point. They needed to make massive sacrifices to get to that point. And to come back to what we spoke about, so, this book saying disrupt yourself or be disrupted. COVID is disrupting every single one of us at the moment. That's what COVID's doing.
Yeah.
And so therefore we need to make a conscious choice that we are going to disrupt ourselves and be in control of disrupting ourselves, because otherwise you're going to be disrupted and it's not going to be in your control. And that's what COVID has done for us.
Yeah.
But does that mean it's too late for you to do anything? No. It's the opportunities are abound if you will just look for them. And that's the danger with a lot of people, is that they like this. I've got a very preconceived idea about what the opportunities are, what a scam is, what a Ponzi scheme is, what is a this and what is a that. And so you go into opportunities and looking at opportunities with these preconceived ideas. And so what that does, it blinkers you from an opportunity, because you're looking for it's a Ponzi, it's a this. You're looking for the excuses to why you shouldn't be getting into it.
Your mind's pretty much made
rather
up before
than looking why you should.
Yeah, your mind's made up before you've actually looked at it, subconsciously, pretty much.
Exactly. Because Quinton, you and I know that, yes, there are lots of schemes out there, and yes, there are lots, but the reality is there are lots of opportunities too.
Yeah.
But if you're not open to receiving those opportunities, and you're not even open to look at them properly and really do your due diligence and your homework properly.
Yeah.
A lot of people go and say, oh, no, I know this thing. Or I'll go and read a blog on the internet and I haven't a cooking clue who that oak is and what that person's agenda is, but because that guy says, therefore I believe that guy, before I believe somebody that I know who's involved in that.
Yeah.
So it's we are our own worst enemies, and we have to change that. We've got to change our mindset around that. We have to start opening up and realizing that we have to create more than one income stream. We can no longer be dependent just on our salaries. And if you're fortunate enough to still have a job and be earning an income, you have to go and say, can't now go and sit back and say, well, I'm okay, Jack. Yes. Because believe me, tomorrow you may not be okay anymore.
Yes. It can change quickly, yeah.
So it gets very, 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 very fast. Very fast. And I've said this to you before. I'm just grateful that I started doing what I did when I did, because part of my journey has been a mindset change.
Yeah.
These things didn't just. I didn't think the way that I think today when I got involved in these things, not at all.
Yes.
But it was a couple of things that got me to start doing it. But the one thing that sticks in my mind the most always is the comment that our CEO made when I attended one of our conferences. And in closing, he said, in order for us as a business to survive, we have to create alternate income streams.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I thought, okay, if a established, well-known business in South Africa has to do that, what makes me think that as an individual I shouldn't be doing and managing my money exactly the same way? So for me, that was massive.
Tell me in this book that the first book that you mentioned now, whatever, What was the? Do they actually give you advice and give you some pointers on things that?
Yeah.
Because you obviously mentioned it's what disrupt yourself before or get disrupted, basically.
100%. So what they do, so it includes 25 business ideas and nuggets to create your own economy. And so basically what she's saying, so what happened to her is that she was comfortable in the fact that she had a job to go to every day and she was doing well. And then one day she went and got called into the boss's office, still thinking everything is fine, till he opened up his mouth and told her that she was being retrenched. And that just pulled the rug from under her feet.
Is this recent, or how old is this book, or was it?
Well, this is a relatively new book.
Oh, okay. And I was just wondering if it's
published. Yeah. No. So it's relatively new. I just want to see when it was published. I think late last year.
Okay.
But yeah, relatively new book.
Okay, cool.
Really, really great and absolutely worth it. So the things are like. I can't think of a better book that'll inspire people to embrace inevitable change like this one.
Yes.
Each chapter will help you discover the path you didn't know exists and leaves you addicted to the book. And that's exactly what it's about.
And does she?
It's about
Yeah.
But her sharing her journey and the things that she had to do and the mindset changes that she needed to get out of. Okay? So get out of your comfort zone. She's saying disrupt your comfort zone.
Yeah.
When we have a job, we're in a comfort zone because we know we're going to get paid a salary at the end of every single month. And suddenly when you have to look for alternate means of making money, you're pushing the envelope and you have to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And because you don't feel comfortable, you're not embracing that. And that's why the mindset change is such an enormous thing for you to
those 20,
adjust to.
Those 25 nuggets that you mentioned now, what just have you got a bullet point of those, or have you got a few that you could share maybe?
Okay, let's have a look here. I'll just get to them.
I'm actually just checking to see that you really read it.
Oh yeah, I haven't read the whole book yet. I'm busy reading it still. But so the kinds of things that she says, of course, here is that ideas.
Yeah.
Okay? And let me just start at the beginning. So she says, and so what is actually quite interesting about this, because obviously this book was written before COVID.
Yes.
So many of the things that she suggests that we look at as an alternate means of making money are things that have also been enormously impacted by this. So I've actually written an article that I'll be sharing on LinkedIn during the course of this week. But basically, if you think about the alcohol industry,
is that article that you're writing, is that on LinkedIn, an article in your personal page you're talking about?
It'll be in my personal page.
Okay,
correct.
well,
I'll share it with you. I'll tag you in it once I've shared it. So
yeah, well, what you can do is just send me the link.
Have a look at it.
Yeah, you can send me the link, then we can just add it to this live as well for people to go and have a look at then as well.
Yeah, I will do that. But and in that article, I focus on the alcohol industry, because if somebody had come to me before COVID and said to me that the alcohol industry would be impacted the way that it has been, I would have said to you, there is no way. The alcohol industry is probably one of the safest industries to be working in, because people are not going to stop drinking.
Yeah,
well,
ever.
The decision made you stop drinking. The guy, you're going to stop.
No, 100%.
So the things that she talks about, because I'm saying, yes, the first thing that she talks about here is a mobile saloon or barbershop on wheels. So, of course, hairdressers were impacted enormously by this.
Yeah.
So what this teaches us now is that when we select something to do, is we've got to go and say, well, do we think that this has legs? So obviously knowing what we know now, because I would have thought, okay, well, that's a great thing. Everybody needs their haircut.
Yes.
Okay? Just like most people are not going to stop drinking, so those are safe bets.
Yes.
Well, there we go. There we've got two that are not safe bets.
Yeah.
So we've got to be very careful when we. So one of the things, influencer in marketing. So what you've done is you've become an influencer in marketing, in online marketing, and different way of marketing, not the traditional way of marketing. Around data, all of those kinds of things. I was just I created a new a Gmail address for what's the name, just for something that I was busy setting up. And anyway, so I read some of the terms and conditions of Google. And in there, they talk about what they're going to do with your information. They tell you what they're going to do with your information. And most people don't read it. The only reason why I read it is because I was interested to see whether they actually tell me, and they did. And because you and I have been exposed to it, we understand what is happening with data and how data is changing the landscape of where we're going.
Yes.
So I found it absolutely fascinating that they actually say to you, and the thing is with that, is that you're saying, yes, it's okay for you to use my data. And how does that benefit you? You're not benefiting from them at all, but Google is benefiting from them using your information that you're giving them for free. And they're making millions out of it.
Well, their argument is the use of the platforms for free, and therefore that's what you're exchanging. So you're basically saying, yes, I want to use Google, and for that exchange, I'll give you my data. But I think people are going to start realizing more and more that exchange is a little bit uneven.
Correct.
If you actually know what your data is worth, you just don't realize what it's worth.
No, that's the thing. You see, and so that is another area that is busy disrupting. We have to start disrupting ourselves around data and our personal data, and understand the value that our personal data has for businesses who make massive amounts of money out of that. So she obviously talks about an online store, and I think online stores are things that are going to become massive in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, in South Africa, online stores was something that not a big component of South Africans actually used online shopping at all.
Yeah.
But what COVID has done is that this has exploded online shopping enormously.
Yes.
And suddenly you're going, and from something that you were avoiding doing, as going on online shopping for whatever excuse it is that you had as to why you don't do it.
Yes.
And suddenly circumstances are forcing you into getting out of your comfort zone and saying, well, I have to do it because circumstances are forcing me. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so those are the things. So it's about going and saying, okay, well, what are the opportunities that have been created by COVID?
Yeah.
And an online business of some form of fashion is the massive opportunity. Businesses that were never online before have had to create online platforms in order to sell their products, because otherwise they're not going to be selling anything.
Yeah.
And they've had to do that quite fast. Then they also talk about just trying to take a few out of here, so quite an interesting, a few of these that she mentions have been significantly been impacted. So she talks about an innovative baker, and she talks about a mobile lunch service in restaurants. As we know, all of those have been impacted. And again, if you took the restaurant industry and said to me, Juanita, that the restaurant industry is going to be impacted enormously by this, I would have said to you, there's no ways. Because again, I would have said that that's an industry that is, people are not going to stop eating. People are not going to stop socializing.
People always say, I don't know who said it, but people always said, well, people will always need to eat, so you'll never, yeah.
That's it. That's exactly it. So, I mean, as I say, so this book wasn't written that long ago, but already when we're looking at some of the ideas that she's coming up, which is conceptually great, they've already been disrupted, those businesses. So that's how fast things are changing.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's how fast things are changing. So if we don't start changing, boy, we're going to be left behind fast, very, very, very fast.
Much quicker than before.
And we're going to get to a point. That's it. That's exactly what it's about, So that's why she said, and for me, it's about conceptually about the idea that she says, create your own economy, and that is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is you're creating your own economy. You're taking your control back, because we've given control away. Now we're taking control back. But in order for us to take control of how we earn money, we need to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
We've got to take ourselves out of our comfort zone. Otherwise, we're not going to take control and create our own economy.
Yes.
And that is, for me, that's what I really liked about the book, is not so much that she says, okay, well, this is the kind of business. She gives you ideas and it gets you thinking about them.
Yeah.
It's about, what I really love about the book is that it gets you thinking in differently to the way that we've always thought. It makes you realize that that our mindset is really, really important, and I'm just going through this. So she's other things that tips that she gives you. So she says, stop consuming and start producing. We become massive consumers.
So I said during this week, I can't remember on one of the Zooms that we were on, or that was exactly that. It's the age-old thing on Facebook. We've spoken about it quite a bit. Is that if you're not producing the content, then you're the consumer for the content, whether you realize it or not. So be there's nothing wrong with being on social media 24/7, 10 hours a day, whatever. If you're creating the content and you're monetizing and you producing this stuff, but you don't want to be on the opposite side of that, because that's just then you're better off going to read a book or whatever it is. So
exactly. And so of course for you, because people spend hours on social media, that creates an opportunity for you. So of course you need those people as well.
Yes.
But then she also says she says, be relevant. The world we live in is constantly evolving. Businesses, jobs, and social norms are changing. COVID changed things for us overnight.
It's changed. It's not changing anymore. Yes, it's changed.
Correct. Yeah. It's changed. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So she says, don't just start a business, solve a problem.
Well, and
that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah. Golden rule. If you can solve a problem or serve people, start by serving people. And once you serve, Eric Thomas talks about that. In the beginning, what does he say? In the beginning, nobody knows you or nobody knows of you and stuff like that. So you can't expect people to pay you sometimes for your services. Sometimes you have to do it for free until they get to know who you are. You build a rapport and all that kind of thing. They actually used a good example of something about it's nobody wants to be the first. So like when you have a party, you always see the cool people will arrive like an hour late because they don't want to be there. They don't want to be the first at the party. And he said it's the same thing as that. Like nobody wants to take that first plunge or be the first. So yeah.
But that's the thing. But somebody has to be first, Quentin.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be first. So we can't and being first. They are at advantages of being first. Of course, there's disadvantages as well.
Flip side,
because the guys that then come afterwards actually learn from your mistakes. And they may end up doing something better.
Yes.
But the reality is that somebody needs to be first, and not everyone can be second or third. Somebody needs to do it first.
Yes.
And there is first to market advantage for sure. Then this one you'll love: network and collaborate. It's not something that we're going to get away from. We have to learn to network and collaborate. That is the way that the future is. It's just the reality of it.
Even more so now than even more so now than ever. Also with the online stuff and that, there's a lot of things you can do online and collaborate and network with other people. You can sell other people's products and services. You don't even have to create anything. All you do is a reseller, and it's what we call in the traditional world a salesman, where you'd go to a business. Now you can do it online. People aren't aware of these opportunities and stuff like that. That's why I say when I say online, it's a very broad thing that I'm throwing out. It's not just a little store that sells things. That's what people always think is, oh well, I'll need a product, and I need to put that online, and then I need to sell it for a profit. There's thousands of other ways on things that are going on online that you can monetize and use, and that you don't even realize is happening. So yeah.
Exactly. And she says, rethink your business model, and that's what you're talking about, So yeah. So I mean, there you've got the alcohol industry. They're having to rethink their business model. I mean,
Well,
we're in the world.
I know. No, it's
Like, hell.
if you look, if I told you half the shit that's going to happen in January or February, you would have told me I'm cuckoos.
No,
Like
I would
never,
have.
it'll
I would
never happen.
absolutely.
And that's, I
I would
think,
absolutely would
another
have.
lesson we need to learn is that don't ever say that can never happen. Anything can happen.
And, yeah,
Understand
that
that.
100%. I've learned a long time ago to say never say never, and never say I will never do that. Well, I've learned so many times where I said never, and truth faith, when the rubber hits the road and circumstances you're in a specific situation, you don't know what you need to do when the rubber hits the road.
Yes.
So there is no such thing as never say never, because you just don't know, and
All right.
and then she also just so I can there are quite a few, so I can go through them, but they just leverage the internet. I mean, it's just like, be a disruptor, Quentin. These are, I mean, when I read these things, I just thought it's like this book was written for me. So for me, it's, some people are gonna think, oh, Juanita, but this book will really get you on the road of thinking very, very differently, and that's what people need right now.
I've said it a few times. Grant Cardone says it in a few of his books, that the millionaires and that will read an entire book with the intention of, just if they can get one idea out of that book, they know it can potentially make them millions. So they don't read a book like that to oh well, every page must be full of brand new ideas. They can read a whole book like that for one idea. And I think if you go into things like that too, you'll start changing your mindset, because quite often, like you say, we'll pick up something and go, you'll read the first 3 pages and you're like, yeah, but I know this crap in any case, this is stupid, but you might have missed a gem further down the line.
Well, this is the thing, sometimes you just need to revise the stuff that you think you already know, because it's about repetition.
Yes.
We have to revisit the things that we know, because there are things that we forget.
Yeah.
And we do get into in a rut about our own way of things that we think, and the things that we think we know.
Yes.
And then when you go and read a book, you think, oh my gosh, I've forgotten about that. Oh yeah, that, so it's great to revisit those things.
Stuff as well.
So, so for me, this book isn't per se a book around mindset, but it absolutely talks about the mindset required for you to be able to disrupt yourself. You need a specific kind of mindset.
Yes.
But you also have to realize that we are being disrupted by COVID-19.
Yes.
That's it. We are being disrupted by it.
And it's unfortunate, you're not going to end in any case in that as well. So you need to start adapting, or...
No. That's it. And we have to start adapting fast. We really have to. We can no longer just say, oh well, I'll put off looking for something else tomorrow or the week later or whatever. You start now and start looking.
Yes.
There are so many things that people can do, and go and find the thing that you like doing, that the thing that appeals to you. Go and find it, but be, when you go and find the thing, is make sure that it's got longevity, that it's got legs, and it's not something that. I think knowing what we know now is really for you to go and say, well, could this be disrupted and impacted by another COVID-19?
Yeah. There's a strong possibility of a second wave, and they're already talking about it. So, but just so we'll see how that works out. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool, Juanita. I think I'm gonna cut it there. We've gone quite over on the 30 minutes, but it's fine. But yeah, then we'll definitely, like we said, we'll do this again next week. If you're on this live at the moment, or if you're watching a replay of this, join us next Sunday again. Hey, Juanita, 6 o'clock.
That's it.
Yeah, Juanita, next week, Sunday, 6 o'clock, we'll be covering another topic. I'll post about it during the week once we know what we're going to chat about. But it'll be something similar of adding value and some insight into things and stuff like that. Juanita, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Quentin. It's great. I'm enjoying it. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Then we'll same time next week. Cool.
See you next week.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.